You are listening to UOP 105.2 Journalist News Radio. We are live in Phoenix, Arizona with special guests Katrina Wisniewski, Jacelyn Watson, Helene Perry, and Jylissa Cheykaychi. First off, I want to thank all of you for appearing on the show. It is not every day we get to interview future journalists. I am definitely looking forward to this show.
I'm Jacelyn Watson. Hello, and I am so excited about the broadcast tonight, too. Thank you so much for having me. Let's get started.
I too am looking forward to being on the show. I can't express how excited and honored I feel to be on the show today. I want to thank you for having me and all of us that are here on the show. Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Helene, and I do appreciate you for having me on the show today. I just want to come on here and talk to you about a few things as far as what I aspire to do. So again, thank you, and I do appreciate you welcoming me on the show.
Today, our guests will be discussing why they became interested in journalism and how their journalism training will be used in the future. So whoever would like to answer first, don't be shy.
Wow, that's a great question. Why or how did I get interested in journalism? Well, I can tell you that my passion to write began when I was a teenager. I can remember writing a book about my sister and her compulsive behavior to clean all the time. At that point in my life, writing was just a simple way for me to vent how I was feeling. It was not at all a passion that I had identified. I just knew that I could write. And one day I was so terrified of my sister. One day she actually found my writing, she read it, and she raved about how absolutely great it was. And that really surprised me because I didn't expect that from her, nor did I expect the writing to be good or bad. Like I said, it was just a point to vent. So eventually, as the years went by, I actually dropped writing. I didn't write for a while. Then the passion at the beginning of my marriage began again. And I picked it up and I began to write songs and I wrote poetry. And again, I tried to pick up in my book that I had wrote as a teenager. So the passion for writing in itself just began to really take on a life of its own. Um, as even more time passed, I really began to write even more songs. I began to be really interested in writing even more books. God was really speaking different topics in my heart, different experiences that I was going through in life. And those books, and even the books that I'm getting ready to have published now, birth out of that voice of God speaking to me and the trials that I face personally. So at this time in my life, with hundreds of songs written, many of books actually started, and me myself getting ready to finish a few of them so that they can be ready to be published. Journalism is my creative passion. But first of all, it's my gift. So why am I interested in journalism? Because it's my way to vent. I'll be honest with you. When I write, I feel the closest to God. Praise and worship is one that I really do feel close to God, but writing is just something that I know that He's given me. So it's something that I have been given as a gift from God to me to implant a seed of encouragement, inspiration, life, hope, joy, and understanding into the world. And I wouldn't trade it for anything else.
I wasn't always interested in journalism, but reading and writing were always my hobbies. I haven't found time lately to do these things for myself. My true passion is making pottery. Lately, my desire's been so strong that I've never really wanted to make anything so bad. College began the day after high school graduation. It didn't go too well, and I slowly drifted away from my study groups. I became pregnant with my first and only son, and I took it as an opportunity to quit school. Luckily, I had a year of deferment from my scholarship that was ending, and I could pick up where I left off. I had only one option that would allow me to take care of my son 24/7, and that was online school. I felt in my heart that getting a degree would be best for everyone's future. Communication seemed like the most practical, and since I used to be a good writer in high school, why not? Life, as we all know it, happened. Regrettably, dragging on to the end of a 4-year investment, being a journalist is no longer my objective. What I do know is I'll have all the time for pottery making and sculpting, maybe even blog about it. I can read some new fictional novels or write my own.
This is actually a very interesting question. I became interested in journalism. Well, first off, it started with I've always had a passion to write. I have always enjoyed writing stories, poetry, and just writing for the sake of writing. I've had numerous struggles in my life, and that still continue even through today, actually. And I noticed how writing has been my ultimate and main outlet to express how I feel. I began expressing my emotions through poetry and collected more notebooks than I could have ever imagined throughout the years. And to be honest, I cannot remember how many times I changed my major. I've had so many dreams and goals. I started off as majoring in graphic design, which turned into interior design. My last stop was journalism. I was attending what would have been my last semester at Mount San Antonio College, aka Mount SAC as most students call it, which is a local community college near me, when I decided to take a journalism class. Throughout my educational career, I also started to realize how passionate my writing was, especially in topics that I took very seriously. I've had numerous people tell me that I'm a very passionate writer, and in today's society, I believe that the journalism field needs that kind of talent. There are so many stories and topics that still go unmentioned throughout the journalism field, and I want to provide the public with things that other journalists refuse to cover or are afraid to cover, which is obviously the truth. I want to reveal different topics that have never been touched with no sugarcoating.
So, while I attended college directly in high school in 2003, I had a bit of a rebellious behavior, a hard time. I really had a difficult time adjusting to being a white on campus in general. I felt pretty naive looking back. I went through some very traumatic situations. We had a abusive, ongoing relationship that I could not shake. My parents had been involved and literally had to move me from college. I attempted suicide due to the traumatic experiences during my movie in 2003 when it occurred. And directly after that is when I went into an abusive relationship and I hadn't yet dealt with the traumatic experiences I had previously in my life before that time. The college wasn't all bad. There was some fun points too. My point to this being is that I went through all of this during a pretty difficult time in my life, and I discovered I had a gift. I wrote this essay entitled Issues with Black Men, which was basically about my grandfather Daniel. It was basically a biography. My grandfather went through the Great Depression as a child. He worked for circus, worked for a millionaire. He was a military dodger, owned a bowling alley. He ran away from home when he was 13 and met Billie Holiday. He has an unofficial adopted family in Detroit, Michigan. Overall, he was a risk taker and a very interesting life. It's something that he lived. This essay that I wrote was published in a book entitled Contemporary Voices, and that's basically a book that English students study. And I actually won an award for $250. I came in second place, and my abusive boyfriend was first. I was very proud of myself, and my parents were too. So I learned about this through a very dark time in my life, and I love writing passionately because I'm good at it, and it helped me get through something that seemed that there was no way out, but writing was the outlet for me. So I learned about this gift during a very difficult time in my life, and basically, that gave me some hope, something to look forward to. So I love writing passionately because I'm good at it, And I didn't stop there in the essay. I was writing poetry before the essay, but I write poetry and songs. My mother actually had one of the songs published on her CD. I've written a book entitled Welcome to Earth, Jesus, and I'm currently working to pay for the publishing and editing fees. I have a few blogs, but I have not been actively using this point, and I know I should be. So, writing is definitely a passion for me. It's something that I definitely look forward to and I enjoy.
This is another really great question. You asked, how do I plan to use the training in journalism to assist me in my future endeavors? Um, this journalism class and curriculum as a whole has taught me so much about how important it is to edit, 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 and then edit some more. Um, Not only has it taught me about editing, but it's also taught me about content, ensuring that my content is strong, that it's not only strong, but it's thorough. Not only that it's thorough, but it's accurate. I know as a writer, usually for some writers, it comes as a natural gift or a natural talent. However, with any gift and with any talent, it can be made better. That's what these courses have done for me. It's taught me that taking the time to edit your work shows how much you care, not just about what you're putting out in the selfish sense of it, but also about the audience that you're planning to engage. And that is very important. I used to be very lazy about editing. Now, once I go ahead and I'm in the creative mode and I write, I do take the 30 minutes, sometimes 45 minutes, even an hour to edit a blog that I've written for my divorce website. So I've learned that editing is one of the most important things that you can do for your work. It ensures accuracy and ensures a quality product. And I want each of my readers to feel like not only are they getting content that they can relate to, but that it's quality content. I don't want readers reading a lot of misspelled words and so forth. I can also tell you in regards to what I will use from this training is ensuring that there's nothing wrong with ensuring that you have a brand. And when I say brand, I mean what you have to offer to the world, your stamp, is told in your voice. However, your voice has to have a point and it has to have a purpose. And that purpose should accomplish what you're setting it out to do. So this journalism course has been invaluable in what I've learned, and I plan on using each and every morsel that I've partaken of to be that much better of a writer as well as an editor.
I hope to use this journalism training in the future by applying all that I have learned throughout my communication and journalism courses at University of Phoenix. When I pursued my education and career for journalism, I did not realize how much it took to write an article and how many standards and rules applied in regards to developing a story. The format is completely different than what I had originally thought. Comparing from APA style to AP, two completely different formats, and right now it's challenging for me to get a hold of the concept of APA style, but it takes a lot of practice and eventually I will get there. I will take any constructive criticism that I will receive and have received and apply that to each situation possible throughout my career. There are so many other things to learn about becoming a journalist and experiencing the journalism field, and my journey has only just begun.
So journalism is something that I decided to do to help enjoy and get writing. And I'm a very curious person, so media is something that I'm intrigued with. I love music, movies, and news. I can sit and watch the news for hours until I become very sad. The news is literally the focal point of highlighting current events in today's society. I find it interesting to see how far we, as humanity, have come and how far we have to go. The news is the factual stance of human brokenness, and I love to learn about it and to actually interact with it. I really want to be a part of delivering the news to the public so that the public can see where humanity needs the most nurture and touches at. Something that I look forward to doing in the future with journalism. I would hope to be a television anchor so that there are more women of color on TV. I can recall looking at the news and not seeing too many individuals on TV that look like me, to the point that when I did see someone that was that looked like me, I would point them out and remember their name. I can also remember that it wasn't very inspiring for someone like me. I want other children to be able to see that, looking on TV and seeing that, hey, you can do it too. This is something that's not just excluded just to a certain group of people, but it's for all people. So it's something I really want to do. I hope to inspire others. I've been inspired by those before me. And I'm grateful to have the opportunity to enter the program to do in the first place. And if not television, podcasting, hopefully radio, hopefully someplace where I want to endeavor and dig into broadcasting. That's really what I want to do with journalism. And writing the newspaper possibly as well, or owning my own magazine. Either way, I'll be happy. I'm grateful for the opportunity, and I look forward to the future. I know it holds a lot for me, and I will be a big fan of it. I don't mean to sound cocky or anything, but I just look at things in an optimistic way, and I really think people speak positive things will happen. Speak negative things will happen. So, just looking forward to the future, the positive things that will come my way. Thank you for having me on the show. I really do appreciate it. I hope you have a great night. Thank you for having me here. God bless.
Another question I have for you ladies is, after hearing everyone's responses, what are the similarities and the differences between everyone's responses? How does each individual's journalistic goals complement one another? What makes them stand out?
Okay, to ping off of what Jylissa said in regards to similarities as far as writing goes, we all have a keen interest in the world of literature, or we would have not even bothered to venture down this journalism major. Another great similarity is dedication. I believe that anyone that has the goal to apply themselves to obtaining a degree, which takes no less than 4 years to accomplish, has dedication. There may be ups and downs during your academic journey, but if you continuously come back and finish the race, you are most certainly a winner, and you are investing in your future. Another great similarity that we all have in common is that we all have goals set in place in which the degree that we will obtain from the University of Phoenix will be utilized in our future endeavors in one way or another. Some differences that we all have, it seems to be, our separate goals. Although they are achievable, they are different nonetheless. We all have different backgrounds and different reasons as to what led us to be interested in writing. Our background stories are so uniquely different that it only identifies the individual in their history alone. Yes, there's a commonality as far as writing as a whole, but separately we have different ideals, backgrounds, and futures and hopes.
You know, after hearing everyone's responses, including my own, comparing the similarities and the differences, I think it all comes down to a certain moment in each of our lives that brings out the similarities. It seems as though there have been many moments throughout our individual lives that accent the passion and love we each have for writing. In those times, we now recognize that life was not all that great, which was when we began exercising our writing skills and forming our ability to put thoughts to paper and just letting it free flow. I think in each response, I personally heard the hurt and struggle that led us all where we are today. And rather than ignoring it or fixating on something else, we all followed what we knew was the right direction. And as far as differences, the differences in each response, however, exposes the different time in each of our lives. We have all been, you know, after hearing everyone's responses, including my own, Comparing the similarities and the differences, I think it all comes down to a certain moment in each of our lives that brings out the similarities. It seems as though there have been many moments throughout our individual lives that accent the passion and love we each have for writing. In those times, we now recognize that life was not all that great, which was when we began exercising our writing skills and forming our ability to put thoughts to paper and just letting it free flow. I think in each response, I personally heard the hurt and struggle that led us all where we are today. And rather than ignoring it or fixating on something else, we all followed what we knew was the right direction. And as far as differences, the differences in each response, however, exposes the different time in each of our lives. We have all been struggling at some point, maybe at totally different times, but the struggle, the confusion, and the dead ends were completely different. The struggles each person suffered took them down a path that misled them or took them to places that they did not want to be. Some may not have even known the skills they withheld until it stared them directly in the face. Some of us wanted to satisfy our friends and family by pursuing what they believed was the right path, while at the same time we did not know, or we knew that that was not what we wanted to do. I also believe that each of us were pushed from life's perspective in a direction we did not recognize was our calling, if you want to call it that. The struggles that we each encountered tends to outline our journalistic goals, and without those moments in our life, where would we be today? I think it's because of those struggles, those small actions, the constant major changes as far as education goes, and determination. That alone has led us to where we are today. And that concludes our show for today. I want to post thanks to our special guest yet again, and most of all, to all the listeners out there, because without you, we would have no one to talk to. This is 105.2 Journalist News Radio, the #1 place for journalists everywhere. Have a good one, guys. Sponsored by Sonic, America's Drive-In.